Go.
Go. Okay. Good evening. It is the podcast of Grit, grown here by Character Matters. And we have tonight from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Jim Davison.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Jim. And then we've got behind the microphones where you cannot see is Gordon and Jess. They are our producers. So say hi, Gordon and Jess.
Hi.
Hi, Gordon and Jess. Okay, and I am David Mayer. And I'm here in Annapolis, Maryland,
You're taking us?
live from good old Annapolis. Anyway, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about character and what character means, how character is developed, whether character is essential to our life today, or whether things just sort of go along and whatever. And so tonight, one of the essential elements of character is forgiveness. And so we wanted to explore forgiveness as a topic and see how character and forgiveness play together. And hopefully nobody is throwing any sand in the sandbox, but we're gonna try. So before we get into that, I want to go around and check in with everybody, see how they're doing. Our buddy Rob Benson is not in tonight. He had some dental surgery, and they say he's a little wacky, but I don't know that for sure, but that's what he said. He said he's on drugs and he's not allowed to drive.
Well, he would have fit in just right.
That's what I thought, I thought he could call in and we could hear him say, well, character matters, but I don't know about that. So, Jim, do you have any grit growing or joyful
Yes, I do.
celebration?
I have an experience, and this was recent. We have a rural delivery for our mail, So we have 3 mailboxes just outside my house on this very busy road. And the mail lady comes along and pulls over and takes out mail that goes out and puts in mail that comes in. And she's very reliable and very nice. And the other day, someone came and rear-ended her right at the mailboxes and knocked the van and caved the doors in the van and knocked out the tail light, and she got hurt with the seatbelt hitting her, and the mailboxes were trashed. Well, I got here on the scene, and the cops were here, and they were getting licenses and finding out who did what. And it was very interesting because, we were attending to the mail lady because she obviously was the victim here. And my daughter was walking by the state police, and she was listening to what the driver of the truck who hit the mail lady said. And the driver of the truck, and I believe his daughter too, were trying to blame the mail lady. And the police just said, I report what I see, and brushed them off. And we tried to get the mail lady to let somebody else do the rest of her route because she was obviously shaken. And she says, no, I'm going to finish my route.
Wow.
And she stuck to it.
Wow.
And she's just about to retire. She's within a month of retirement. So that was kind of like really wonderful grit and kind of the opposite of wonderful grit. Someone who's typically a victim and likes to blame. So she really shone today, and I'm sorry she's leaving the force because she's a great example.
That's a great story. I really enjoyed that. Yep. Mr. Gordon, would you?
I got nothing.
You have nothing? Jess, anything on your side? In terms of maybe just joyful that happened to you during the week? Anything?
I can do that.
Let's do joy.
Joyful, I can do.
Okay.
Because this past weekend, my oldest nephew, Demetrius, he had his girlfriend. Oh, okay. His girlfriend gave birth to a son. And his name is Adrian.
Okay.
Oh,
Very good.
Cutie little pie.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Very exciting.
Sonny is excited, but he doesn't like it when it cries.
Yeah, well, I don't like when I cry either.
So yeah.
Congratulations to Big D.
Yeah,
So
very good.
Demetrius says, "Yep, he's a big dad now."
Wow.
So
All
Yeah,
right.
time definitely
He's a daddy.
marches on. And, I had something earlier, but as time marches on in my brain, sometimes it doesn't go with it. But, I mean, I've had a very good week. My wife came back from her trip of watching grandchildren down in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I've been nothing but so joyful to see her because this spring and right up till now, we have been so busy. She's been out watching various families' kids a lot over the early part of the year. And we're getting ready to go on vacation next week. So thank you, Gordon. Because we get to go away for a whole week, we are like, Katie, bar the door. Don't let anybody in. Don't let anybody out until we leave. We just want to go and have a great time. So I'm excited about that. And I will miss you guys for really at least 1 week. The second week, I think I'll be able to call in. I'll be on a business trip up in Connecticut. So, and then we're hoping to have Rob back next week. And
Good.
yep. Hopefully he won't have a toothless smile, but whatever he's got, we're going to be glad to have him.
That's right.
Yeah. So, on the topic of forgiveness, is forgiveness an important character trait?
Well, can I speak?
Yes, I was waiting for you because you're there and I'm here. So I was waiting.
To me, it is very important, and it's probably not talked about very well. I know in psychology, at least, it became a construct for study because, in their wisdom, the psychologists decided that it was an important character trait for people to have, and so they were going to decide to study it. You know, it's never true unless psychology approves it.
Oh, well, we already know that.
And it obviously, in the matters of faith, it's very important because Christ taught us to forgive. But to me, what I have found, and I found even with myself, is that sometimes it's very, very hard. And even though we say we want to forgive, or we try very hard to forgive or pray to forgive, it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work in reality, even though it's a very important thing to have. So
in other words, I just want to clarify if I can understand what you're saying. So somebody does something to you and you know you want to forgive them and you should forgive them, but you've got this, I don't mean rage in such a negative way, but you've got these feelings that are running through your body that don't square up with your spiritual.
I was glad you made that segue. Quite so. And I think sometimes we have a conflict between love and trust that we hope to be able to develop when we forgive somebody. Conflict between that and hate and fear. And in the hate and fear column, I would include vengeance, resentment, all kinds of self-destructive things that keep our attention and keep our cortisol levels high and keep us eyeballing the enemy, even though we're trying to forgive them.
Right.
So it's very destructive to all of us. And forgiveness it's not only important for us, but it's very important for the perpetrators. We have to model what that is. Otherwise, we're going to inadvertently offend each other to death. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in our society today.
Yeah, I think in our political realm, we're definitely seeing that, where everybody seems to be casting aspersions, maybe we can be polite about it, on what the other people are thinking and doing, even though they haven't talked to that person. They don't truly know what is in their mind, but they're sure making up a good tale about what's in their mind.
Yeah, and that's a power thrust. It really is.
Yes.
That's a rotten thing to do, and that's what people do to gain power and attention and money and authority, unfortunately. But I think that destroys us. It destroys our society. It's not a good-natured debate. It doesn't really clarify issues at all. It doesn't make people informed as to what they want to know. It's just like character assassination. And we know how it works in families, how destructive it is. And certainly in politics, like you said, Dave.
Yeah.
But we find it in all kinds of places where people need to trust and forgive.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and even love again.
People even come into churches and they need help, and they want the pastor to be a certain way, and they do some testing of the pastor to see, well, can you help me with this?
Yes.
And if it doesn't come out just right, sometimes they don't forgive the pastor.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
And it's harsh. It's very harsh.
But doesn't society try to tell us that we need to look inside ourselves to forgive everybody? And yet when we're looking inside ourselves and yet we are the screw-ups in a relationship, and things get so broken that people stop talking to each other. People stop seeing each other. And they don't participate interacting with family and friends, and they cancel each other, right?
Yeah. Well, I have a personal belief about that. I don't know if you want to hear it at this point or later.
I do, because, you're on a podcast and we want to hear your opinion.
Mine comes down to the division of principalities, the warfare between good and evil, if you will. And I believe there is good and evil. And I think attitudes, beliefs, and actions that divide people, either intentionally or even unintentionally, are acts of evil. I honestly do. Whereas actions and thoughts and beliefs that bring people together in some way, at least try, are certainly acts of the Lord and something that we've been asked to do. And I think it's a good indicator of where we stand. Mm-hmm. If we have in our hearts resentment and we have in our hearts retribution, and we don't, obviously we got to stay away from people who are harming us. But if we're isolating just to choke that person to death socially, we're acting out a form of evil. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. But if we only spend time looking inward and looking for the answer within us, and not reaching out to one another to figure out how we really reconcile relationships and heal what is broken, then who is God at that point?
Right. Because it's a bottomless pit, and we can't do it all. Right. I don't think. I think we have to turn it to God and trust that He's going to help us.
Yes. And in our brochure, I meant to bring a copy of the brochure to show it to our audience, but we have the picture of a man chiseling himself out of stone as a symbol of what character mattering is. And so in that chiseling really kind of represents the world around, helping you polish off those rough edges, and helps you see that there's more work that needs to be done in this aspect of your life. And that doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can be very positive if we're all coming from a place of love and joy.
I agree, Dave. I honestly do. And if we are coming from that place of love and joy, it's a great deal easier to understand where others are coming from.
Well, doesn't it then just become a natural way of life if everybody is coming from love and joy, and everybody then isn't looking to be offended? They might stop for a second and just say, that was a tough word that I just heard.
Yeah.
Where does that fit in my life? What edges is it bumping up against? Where do I need to do some reflection and not blame somebody else for how I'm feeling?
Yeah, very, very good. And with with great love and respect, we look to other people to help guide us to do that.
Yeah.
Because we need that, one crazy person at a time. We can really help people pull back from that if we really pay attention and care enough and don't, get involved instead of ignoring.
Right. And my point of view is forgiveness is not an emotion. Forgiveness is a choice. And forgiveness does not mean that you weren't hurt. Whatever happened, you were hurt. And it does hurt. But you probably weren't hurt physically. But, whatever the hurt you feel it is, whether it's financial or spiritually or emotionally, the question is, how do you respond? How do you train yourself to forgive instead of giving into the dark side of emotions?
Quite so.
Hate, anger, vengeance, retribution, retaliation. I think the
deeper the hurt and the more it hurts you, the people you love, maybe the harder it is to do.
But the point I was going to make is, if you come from anger, you get more anger. If you come from hate, you get more hate. If you come from vengeance, you get more vengeance. And because then it's very difficult to be loving when you're carrying around this poison chemical in your body that is all about anger.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we can look on a macro level and see what's going on between President Trump and President Xi. Just today. People talk about how dangerous the Chinese are becoming, how they're trying to take over the world, and financially and logistically and militarily and all the rest, and being fearful. And yet the both of them stood there, I believe it was today, maybe yesterday, and made the announcement that we need to be friends. We need to work together.
Yeah.
And it was a common statement, and there was a lot of cheering about that, and people in the streets cheering about that, and American flags. Yeah. And to me, that was a great example.
Well, I agree it's a good example, but then again, here's my distrust. Are they going to live up to what they just said?
Right.
Where have they shown that they live up to what they just said?
Right.
I mean, right now we have a war going on with Iran. China gets a lot of oil from Iran. One of the container ships that has a lot of products for Iran, or for China, was hit by Iranian missiles. And, if we had an agreement worked out with China, maybe we could let some fuel go through. But we don't. They're not helping us because they can influence Iran. They're not saying, hey, no more missiles until, you do this, that, or the other thing.
And I'm sincerely hoping that works out. Of course, like we've said before, we don't know who's in charge of what in Iran right now.
That's right.
We just don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, with forgiveness, you've got to step out on that plank that I'll call trust, because, when you're hurt, you're hurt. You're not going to forget that you were hurt. But when you choose to experience whatever those hurtful emotions are, then you can move past it. But if you're holding on to those emotions and not experiencing them, what is that old saying? It's like you wish somebody else is dead, but you drink the poison.
Exactly. And if we don't try to trust, we're going to live in fear and hate.
Exactly.
And I think moving that needle over to the trust side, even in an exploratory fashion, moves the needle toward what you were talking about: mutual respect and love.
Yeah. I was thinking about a woman that was in the hospital with COVID, and she was not in good shape. And the doctors at that time were not willing to let her try any of the medicines that we heard, kind of all over the place that might work. Ivermectin being one of them.
Yes.
And the nurse quietly said to the patient, "I can get you some ivermectin if you want to try it." And the patient was like, "Yeah, I want to try it." Well, when her daughter heard about it, her daughter is like, "You're going to take an experimental drug. You don't know what kind of effect it's going to have on your body. And da, 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 da. That lady is irresponsible. I shall report her to the medical board," and blah, 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 blah. And so what was really at play there? The woman who was sick is like, "I'll try anything." The woman that was her daughter was like, "We got to rely on the medical professionals who have experience. We need to trust them." And the woman laying in the bed is, "My choice is lay here and die or try something else." And so she took it. And 2 days later, she's like feeling a lot better. And another day, she gets released from the hospital. But she has breathing issues. And, you know, it took a long time for her to recover. And I'm not even sure today she's 100% recovered. But I know that the daughter was concerned in love for her mother. I know this about them because I know both of them well. And, you know, and she's like, you know, it's like when you want to shake somebody and say, "Don't you see what you're doing? Don't you see?" And when I'm hearing both sides tell me the story from their point of view, I'm thinking to myself, mercy on these people who, they both love each other. I know that 100%, but we needed mercy for the patient because they felt they were dying. We need mercy for the nurse because the nurse, she was like, "I've heard these other medicines work. I know that we are not allowed to prescribe it. I have a connection where I can get some. Would you be interested in trying it?" You know, she didn't force it on her at all. And, you know, and then mercy for her daughter, who is so worried how things are progressing that she just thinks there's nothing but reckless endangerment is happening to her mother's life.
Yeah.
So it's just, they all were desperate to seek answers and truth. And, you know, the daughter was talking to me on the telephone. I was like doing everything I could to like hold her hand in reassurance.
Good.
And I don't know. I think maybe we need to look at, in that kind of situation, why is mercy important instead of just commiseration? Because I could have just commiserated with her and said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah." But I wanted her to see the possibility, see the mother's point of view, see the nurse's point of view, where her oath is to do good.
Right.
And I think
Well,
that mercy. Go ahead.
she showed a lot of character. I'll
Yep.
tell you that.
Well, I think she did.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think that mercy, if everybody came from understanding the other person's point of view, that they break that cycle of vengeance and retribution and rejection. It allows a fresh start. And mercy demands forgiveness of others, I think.
I agree, Dave. I agree completely. I wish I'd been better at it all my life.
And I do too, because I'm actually going through something like that right now with the death of my brother. He was failing with dementia, and the sisters thought they knew better than the brothers how to take care of him. And they put him in an apartment with a caretaker, and he knew the caretaker because the caretaker between jobs would stay at my sister's house, and he never liked the caretaker. When he had all his faculties, he didn't like her.
Oh, dear.
And so my sister was like, "Well, he won't know the difference." Well, he wasn't daft. He just was forgetting things, but
Yes.
yeah, it wasn't like he forgot the emotions that he had. And and I was like, I'm not gonna sanction what you're doing. You're doing it outside of what the family making a choice. Well, anyway, not even 3 months in, he hauls off and hits the lady because he felt that she was emotionally abusing him.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because he didn't want to take a shower, so she would make up a ditty about he's stinky and he's, this and he's dirty and, and you hear that a few times. You're like, I can't take it. So he popped her. And so all of a sudden the sisters are calling me saying, you take care of him now. You do it. And I said, okay. And so I got him in a care facility, and ultimately he loved it. But the sisters, oh my God, they just think I'm the worst guy in the world because they questioned and tried to get somebody who wasn't competent to sign a new power of attorney and get rid of me.
Oh dear, Dave, that hurts.
Yeah. So I just said, I just want to ask a judge which power of attorney is good. That's all I do. I just want to ask. Well, they thought I was suing them. And I wasn't suing them. I was asking for an opinion. So anyway, one of them didn't come to the funeral. The other one came, but she wasn't happy with me. So that's life.
And
so
that can burn on for a long time.
I know, but
so it dashed your expectations, and it's a severe loss to you.
Well, it's like I lost 3 instead of just 1,
Yeah.
And so the question is, okay, mercy. I was just crying out about mercy. Everybody needs love and compassion. And how do we show it? And, this is a situation. How do you show it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Oh.
Oh, go ahead. You want to participate?
I was trying.
Please do.
One of the things that, when you're talking about unforgiveness is one of the things that unforgiveness leads to is bitterness. And you grow very bitter and angry and upset and hateful and vengeful. And that's kind of what leads to all that stuff. It's part of it. And one of the things like I know we get passed down a lot of stuff from our parents. And something that my Aunt Carol had taught me is that we're given a choice. And we can either choose to keep what we've been dealt, or we can choose to overcome what we've been dealt.
Right.
And, and I saw the difference between her and my mom.
Yeah.
And she overcome a lot of she overcame. And my mom, well, she chose
to hang on to it.
Kind of hang on to it. And, towards the end of her life, she was starting to overcome it, but she just kind of, and I saw the difference. And I think my mom was like kind of jealous of that, I think, because the relationship I had with my aunt, she thought I liked my aunt better, but sure. I saw the difference between the two.
Right.
And,
of course.
I wanted what my aunt had for my mom.
Right.
That freedom that my aunt had found, and how she was able to connect. My aunt was able to connect with me emotionally.
Right.
Whereas my mom couldn't. And and I saw, unforgiveness in my own life and how it makes you bitter.
Yeah.
And, I don't know anybody who likes being bitter.
Nobody likes it,
but forgiveness is hard. And I've seen it not just mentioned in Christianity and mental health, but also in like Islam and some other different religions.
Yeah.
Some religions as well. But without a forgiving God, it seems like it's almost impossible to forgive somebody else.
Well, I think that there's steps to forgiveness. And Jim, you can straighten me out if I'm going way off track, but I call it the shot in the arm example. So my son was struggling a little bit with forgiveness, and I said, well, son, look at it this way. If I came by and I just took my hand and punched you right in the shoulder, and you were like, ow, that hurt. And I say, oh, sorry. And I walk away. Am I sorry? Maybe, but maybe not. And so I come by a little while later, and all of a sudden I pop him in the arm again. And he looks at me and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I say, "Oh, sorry." And if I come by him again, he may cower a little bit, to save his arm, but I give him another shot in the arm, and he's like, "You are not sorry." And I'm like, "You're right. Okay, but if I give you a shot in the arm and I say, 'Son, I hit you in the arm. I'm wrong. I should not have done that. And I know it hurts. And it's not funny, but I'm not going to hit you in the arm anymore. Will you forgive me?' And then I think all of the elements are there for understanding, because I admitted my faults. I indicated what the damage is, and I amended my ways. Now, if I come by again and punch him in the shoulder, he's never going to forgive me. But if I have actually amended my ways, then the chance for him to be able to forgive me is really high, because I acknowledged exactly what I've done.
Quickly too.
Yeah, and quickly. But the problem is, when we hurt one another, we aren't quick with the, "Oh, I see how you're hurt. Oh, that wasn't my intention, but I see what the results are. And would you forgive me for what my actions were?"
Right.
And that
Right.
is, and then you don't have to wait on another person to ask for forgiveness, because at that point you've already dealt with a lot of the emotions that went into the incident. Any comment, Jim?
And truly, the possibility of changing the person who's been victimized into a mindset of resentment and hurt and fear is very powerful without that.
Yes.
And the fact that you come back and say, "I'm wrong. I am wrong to have done this to you. I really apologize," frees them of that.
Yes. Yes, it does. Well, Isaiah 59 says, "But your iniquities have made a separation between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you so that you do not hear." That's
Very good point.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I think we distance ourselves from God when we hang on to resentment.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so I just think that you've got to be able to explain to the person that you've hurt what you did wrong. But then again, I mean, if you feel like you've been the one that is injured, you can walk them through their side of it by asking questions.
Yeah.
You just hit me in the arm. That hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, what should I do about that in the future? Should I just hold my arm every time I go near you? But
I have an experience to relate, if it's okay.
Yeah, please.
When I was much, much younger, we used to be in New Jersey at my grandmother's place, and there were kids that I kind of grew up with in the summertime. And one of them was an odd-looking guy, and very nice, but very odd-looking. And the kids around him would taunt him and call him Dead Bird, because it in a way he did look like a dead bird, but it wasn't funny. And I remember seeing him the beginning of one summer in a